Hello. Stream is live.
Hey guys, just put yourself on mute for just for a sec. They're gonna ready up soon. I'll lead you guys in. Won't be too long, viewers, before we get going. Just finalizing a few drivers, and we should be ready to go very soon. Welcome, viewers, to the round 1 of the Bahrain Grand Prix for Season 2 of the OCE Racing League 2 series. Today's the first round, and joining me will be Peanuts and Choden. Welcome, guys.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Choden, you there?
Yeah, hello. This is tier 2, yeah?
Pardon?
This is the tier 2 race, yeah?
Yes, it is. So how we going, guys?
Pretty good, yeah?
Pretty excited to see how the tier 2 folds out.
Pardon?
Excited to see how the tier 2 people.
Yeah. Well, as a driver, I mean, we're on a little bit later, so we're gonna get a bit of a taste to see how these guys go first, and then we're on next. How we doing, guys?
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's interesting to see how they do with their strategies and all.
it definitely will be.
Yeah,
Definitely will
like
be.
a preview for the tier 1 race.
Pretty much. Choden, you sound pretty far away from the mic. Able to get in a bit closer?
I might be set to the wrong mic.
All good. And we have our first car out of the pits. Who is this right now?
Is that better?
That's much better.
Oh,
Perfect.
much
Okay,
better.
cool.
We've got 2 cars. I think 2 cars out of the pits right now. Trying to have a look. Who we got? Looks like Eccentric and Hokien is out on the track at the moment.
I've seen Eccentric drive before. He's pretty fast. So
Pardon?
Eccentric, he's pretty damn fast. So you better look out for him.
Oh, perfect. Give me one moment, guys. Peanuts, are you able to invite Piero to the session? I think he's going to be joining us today.
Sure. I'll send him an invite.
Perfect, thank you. So, as we're on a bit of a hot lap at the moment, Any out laps, I should say, not hot laps, out laps. So most of the drivers look to be coming out right now. Guackle, Basic Kiwi, and number 6 for Mr. Shrifty. So Grand is out at the moment, so the only two remaining is J Miles and Choden, but Choden.
Oh, yeah, it put me in as a driver for some reason. I'm spectating now, it's fine.
Okay, easy, perfect.
So it looks like Hokkien is going to be the first one to set a lap. Unless he invalidates.
Here we go. No, he's all good. His time starts now. So
Let's see what sort of lap times we can expect.
On board with him through turn 1 as he brakes. A bit of a lock up
Bit
there.
deep.
Yeah, a bit deep. And here we go, Piero Man's in. As he's taken it quite nicely around turn 2. Into turn 3. Quite nice on the brakes, a little bit of a lock up, but you need that nice entry through into the end of the sector 1. And he's done a 29 flat. So it's not a bad sector 1. Seems to be a bit of a yellow flag in the last part of the track. I think someone's obviously slowing down to let
It's
someone
either,
ride.
I think it might be, it's either Guackle or Grand slowing down.
I think he's letting people through at the moment, so he's about to start his hot lap now.
Yeah.
So back on board with Hokkien. Again, a bit of a locker. Is trying to find his way around the track. It's still a bit green, so he's the first
Yeah,
guy
he's
to
looking
settle
up
up.
quite a bit. You don't want to be
Eccentric
doing
is
that in the
getting up.
race.
It's true. It will deplete your tire wear very quickly.
Oh, I think he's holding up someone behind him. Yeah, he's holding up Eccentric. Eccentric is right on his tail. And I think he just invalidated as well.
Oh, he has too. Actually, it doesn't say that he has.
Maybe.
But I think
It looked like he went off track.
He's had to pass
Who knows?
Hokkien.
Yeah.
Back on board, and I think Eccentric, he does set the fastest 1:26.5,
Oh,
so a very,
Jesus. 5
That's
seconds
very good.
quick
faster.
lap. A very quick lap. I think he probably just needs to understand where he is at the moment, but maybe needed to give Hokkien a bit of a extra space there. We'll ride on board with Guackle, I believe. As he's done, where is Guackle? He's on a minute at the moment, so a bit of a lock up there. Not looking too bad out of that.
Oh, Josh KK with the 128.5. Shrifty with the 135.3. And Basic Kiwi with a 130 flat.
Okay, that's not looking too bad. It looks like Eccentric has got some pace on him, which is
Yeah. Have to see if anyone can
match his time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see what Guackle's able to do. So we ride on board with him. He crosses the line with a 1:33.3. So I think he's made a bit of an error somewhere in the lap, because in practice he was sitting at, I think, a 1:28. So he must have made an error somewhere. He's about 5 seconds away from his time. So let's ride on board with J Miles as he starts his lap. Good turn out into turn 1. Not too hard on the brakes, no locker. Quite easy on the traction. He's able to pick up the power quite nicely. Opens the DRS as we jump into a broadcast view for him, straight into turn 3. It's quite nice. Bit of a slip out of that with a 28.2 in the first sector. I think it's a little
That's
bit.
2/10 off what Eccentric did, right?
Yeah, I believe it was. So I think he's not looking too bad at the moment.
Yeah, this guy might be able to get close to a 126.5.
Let's see what he does. Quite nice into the turn 10, but a bit of a slip.
Not as many
actually.
lockups.
It's not. So he's been a bit easier on the throttle, which is good. But he had a bit of a slip out of turn 10.
Yeah.
Let's listen to the engine as he finishes up on sector 2. Yeah, it crosses with a 106.3. So I don't know how far off he is with Eccentric's lap, but we're going to see come the next end of this next corner. And it looks like someone's there perfectly waiting. Thank you, Josh. You would be saying. Quite nice out of that. He's just on the limit, just on the white line. But I think he's had to slow down.
Oh, he just backed off.
He must have made a mistake, but he said a 129.7. So even with
Even
backing
with
off,
yeah.
129.7. It'd be interesting to see what he would have actually done.
He
So
must be targeting for a medium.
he could be. There's a possibility. As
The
we're on.
alternative strategy is pretty powerful around Bahrain. I know
Well,
that the softs are really fast.
they are, but they don't last longer than 6 to 8 laps on this
Oh,
track.
yeah.
So, and even then, the mediums I think is the perfect tie because it gives you a nice level of grip with
Kurama just set a purple middle sector.
So he's on it at the moment. I think he's going to be challenging Eccentric here.
If he can start on the mediums at the front, that's very good for him.
It's going to give him a great race strategy.
As Piero crosses, goes to the left-hand corner. What time is he gonna sit? 1:28.6
Hmm.
on the mediums too. So as it seems so far, Piero is the only one who's targeting for the alternate strategy.
So I think Piero is going for another lap, actually. It looks to be attacking it quite heavily. 103. He is attacking it, actually. He's actually going for a 106. He's a little bit down, only by 1/10, actually. And that may have... Actually, he hasn't invalidated. I thought that would have. Actually, normally that invalidates the lap when you run wide and carry the speed.
Yeah.
That's interesting, it didn't. So he's definitely going for it. Opens the DRS.
He just
128.6. So a little bit down.
Thousands off.
Little bit down. So not bad. I don't really want to be... You wouldn't probably want to be doing more than 2 laps on those if you want them for the race. Because
yeah.
even on a long fuel load, those mediums don't like going past 14, 15 laps. So let's ride on board with Guackle here. As I think he's going for a bit of a improvement. Quite nice into that turn. Let's see what his sector 2 time is. Past the 106, 107, 108, 109. He's up a little bit. It's interesting from Guackle actually because again his pace in practice is a lot quicker than what it's actually showing. So only 1/10
Maybe the
up.
pressure's getting to him.
It's possible. It's very possible. He will have another crack at it for the next race, as he's doing. He's just filling in for this race here, so he will have another crack.
Right. I think Eccentric starting another hot lap.
Let's ride on board with him. Not using the eSport line, but does use all of the track. Bit of a lock up there. 27.6, so a little bit down. Probably came from the lock up, to be honest. Another lock up there, trying to slow the car down. Again, these guys probably want to burn through these tires as much as they can because it's all about taking 100% out of them. The more you can extract, the better your lap will be.
That's true.
Looking quite clean at the moment. He's trying to better his 126.5, but he is catching up to a car. So hopefully if they're not on a hot lap, they'll be able to recognize him and get out of the way.
I think the car that he's catching up to is on a hot lap.
Who's that?
4/10s up.
Basic Kiwi.
Sector 2.
Right on board Basic Kiwi too. Oh, it is pretty. He's going to get the toe here. I think that's going to help his lap a lot. Bit of a lock up there though, and it runs a bit wide, but the toe will definitely help his lap time, as he will improve to a 25.7.
Wow.
So that's a massive jump. Mind you, a lot of that would have come from the toe, but
yeah.
He seems to be having a weird glitch at the moment. The little engine noise glitch.
Oh, the rev counter glitch. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. And Grand just goes a little bit quicker with a 27.8. So Grand is definitely on it. Still no one able to catch that 25.7 at the moment. I think it's looking like Eccentric's going to definitely get the pole for this one here. Unless someone's able to fix, someone able to get that lap, to put in a quick hot lap.
Oh.
Anybody else?
Shrifty just binned it out of the final corner.
Don't you hate that when you're on for a good solid lap and all it is that last corner that that wrecks everything? Is it just me, or is he?
So it looks like we've got another person starting on the medium tires, right behind Pierre Man as well.
So I think Pierre Man's
third, fourth, fifth, and
definitely
sixth all
going.
have pretty close lap times. Even though Pierre Man and Miles are both on the medium tires, so it'll be interesting to see what they can do in the race.
For sure it will. I think they're just going to opt for strategy over eccentric rather than raw pace. I must admit, I think Shrifty's showing out his true New Zealander colours with the All Blacks colour livery. Quite a nice livery there he's got. The trying to show his home country, the New Zealand. Who else is on a hot lap at the moment? Let's have a on board with Zefty. I think he might be. He is on board on a hot lap. Into the final corner. A little bit tentative actually. Let's see what his time will be. I don't see more. 1:29.7, so a little bit quicker. He does improve, not by much, but it's an improvement.
Grackle starts his hot lap.
Wackle's on board. Let's go on board with Grackle. Grackle. He's going to want to rectify his last couple of laps as he's gone very deep into turn one. But sometimes you're able to carry that speed, which looked a bit slow, unfortunately. Nice little. I think he's also changed his livery for the tier 2. I think it's quite nice. He's 1 point. There we go. There's a speed from Grackle. Is 1.4 seconds up in sector 1.
Releasing his sandbags,
There we
eh?
go. Yeah, that whatever he had on there is probably taken off the car. Very deep. Oh, he's just kept it though. He's tried to carry the speed and it looks like it might have worked actually. But I think he's now over pushing at this point.
The tires are 4 laps too, so he might need to almost loses it.
He's 3 seconds up at the moment, so this is the speed that he was showing in practice. Where would that put him? At 29 at the moment. 29.8. If he's able to get a little bit more from this car in this last sector, he should be where we think he was supposed to be in those 28s. So, what is it? 27, 28.3. There we go. That's a lot better. And either he's purposely lost that or accidentally lost that, but
Probably celebratory.
probably a celebratory crash.
As you do.
But it has pushed him up to third, so well done, Guackle.
Amazing lap.
And Eccentric's back on it with an even quicker sector 1. I think he's trying to put more misery between him and second place Grand, who is at the moment 9/10 behind. So I don't think Grand is going for another lap. He's going for it, Eccentric.
Looks like he's really throwing everything into this one.
For sure. The track at its most rubbered point as well. Even better. And he's up just under a 10th at the moment, so there is a chance to improve this time. He's going for it. Grand is on his outlap, so this is interesting actually. Maybe the time is wrong, or he's missed his moment. I'm not sure, but he does go
He does improve.
slightly quicker.
Almost 1:10.
Just
10th quicker.
and Is our timer wrong? Because Grand is going on an out lap. Usually, normally the game would take over by now and say, no, you're not allowed to do the lap. But
I think it only takes over if you cross the line after the timer.
From
So
what I
Interesting.
know, every time is different.
Interesting.
There's a bit of a gap.
Shrifty has, I think there goes his lap, letting past Josh, I believe. And Shrifty also loses it too. Right before we cut across to Josh, 223. Josh K, I should say.
Will he get grapple on this lap?
I'd probably say thank you to Gwackle for moving out of the way. Well, it's all about the last part of this lap, and he
Ooh,
matched,
improves.
improved by 2 tenths, so he gets that third spot. Well
Just
done,
ahead of
Josh.
Gwackle.
Well done. Eccentrics on his out lap here. Shrifty will be crossing the line now, and he does, not improving, so he's starting in that 10th spot. I think a lot of these guys will be quite happy, but no one's catching Eccentric at that top.
No.
We're the 25-6.
I think he's probably just going to break away at the start of the race.
For sure he will. For sure he will. But the question will be...
Unless he doesn't have that much race pace. We never know.
It is true. Setting up for qualifying and setting up for a race, two very different things. You got to make
Exactly.
a compromise somewhere. So... But it's now all about, in the race, how long can he make those soft tyres last? If he can still be... If he can be matching the guys on the mediums
Yeah.
around the lap 8 or 9, then he's happy. He's going to be very, very happy boy. But if he starts losing too much time, he may find himself in a bit of trouble.
Jules, will you have to kick me like from the session because it says I'm in the game? So is it going to put me on the starting grid?
It might. Just
Because I've joined as a spectator, but it still says I'm in the game.
this will be interesting then. I think
I
we
reckon you
will
just
find out.
retire on the first race.
Yeah,
and
if I'm pretty sure if you're just able to retire, just do that, and then you'll
Yeah,
just
okay.
jump into spectator mode.
I might be able to just like take control of myself and then retire.
Yeah, maybe do it in a spot
Off the start.
where there won't be a safety car.
Could I do it on the formation map?
You might be able to. I'm not sure.
Hopefully.
Any predictions?
Eccentric's gonna win. That's my prediction.
I still think it's looking very likely like Eccentric, unless Piero is able to challenge quite nicely with those mediums and make them last.
Brand's starting on the mediums, right?
I think I'm not sure. I think he said
He's
his
starting-
fastest lap on the softs. So
We'll have to see.
we will see. We definitely will see. And hopefully now, I think we've got from apparently we're having some audio issues, but hopefully that is fixed now. So as we're about to start the session in 2, 1, and the formation lap should begin right now. On board with Eccentric.
Yes, I am in the game. It does not let me take control of myself.
Interesting.
That is
Shrifty
not an
was
option.
disqualified from the session.
What was that for?
That is interesting. I'm assuming they made contact with each other, but I don't think they're... I do not
I
think
think
that
my
they're
car is
disqualified.
an AI.
Yeah, it looks like an AI driving.
Yeah, I'm an AI.
Okay.
I think they
Take
still get to
control
start
before
the race.
Yeah.
Alright, if you are able to put it in a spot where it's not a racing safety car spot, then we're all sweet.
I can't take control of it though.
You're gonna have to wait, I suppose.
Yeah,
He's
maybe.
warm up, so it's pretty much safe.
So, as we see, let's have a quick look as to what everyone's tyre data is. So, what do we got? We've got Piero and Miles. So yes, Grand is also on the soft. So it's really going to come down to how fast Piero and Miles can get up to speed. I'm also hearing that if you leave the car, it'll just ghost. So, not a bad turn up for our first event for Tier 2. So we know there's a few drivers missing for this race event, and it'll be a lot bigger come second round in Russia. But these guys get the points today, so
Yeah.
they get that advantage. They will get that advantage of our 10 race season. Which is
How many drivers are racing in Tier 1?
in Tier 1, we're expected to have 19. So
Ooh, wow.
very much. I think we're just missing one for the full grid. So,
Yeah, that's pretty good.
but we will find out come 7 o'clock. In the meantime, all the focus is on Eccentric, Grand, and Josh KKH223. So, as we see Shrifty and BTH Zefty's car over to the side, probably not allowed to participate in the formation lap due to contact off the line. As we have the cars lining up, Guackle's in his spot, Piero MJ, Miles, Basic Kiwi, everyone's in their spots. 3, 4, 5 lights. And away we go, I think. There we go. Eccentric with a bit of a slide actually off the line.
Gosh, what
And
a
everyone's, what a start by Josh. Almost there if you can, there we go, almost tries to switch back. I think this will be his moment. If he's able to get Eccentric. Not quite close enough, so going for the 50% race, playing the waiting game, I think. As we have a few positional changes. Shrifty obviously has either made contact or, and who we got? We got BFR Zefty as well. Car seems to be sounding all right. May have maybe a little bit of damage, possibly. No, it doesn't look like it. So I think he should be fine. Might have just had a bit of a spin.
Eccentric's already out of the DRS. Did not take long.
I believe
See if Josh can stay in.
Jordan, I believe you are in this race actually. Your AI
Yeah,
seems
it's
to.
an AI driving.
Think over it.
Maybe pull a bit of a retire on the start closer to the pit lane. Maybe if you get yourself in the pit lane and then retire.
I can't retire. There's no option for me to retire.
That is interesting. But Eccentric pulling
it's
away.
really weird.
Eccentric pulling away with 1.6 seconds away from Josh K.
Oh, Piero Man's making a move here on Grand.
Right on board.
Yeah, he's already in front. Well done.
He's got him.
Oh, Guackle just spun it coming out of turn 2.
Poor Wackle. I think he's recovered though. And we've got, who else is off the track here? Oh, there he is. There's Guackle coming back on the track.
Piero Man is all over Josh's gearbox right now.
So Piero is on a bit of a charge.
Had a great start.
He's being challenged by Grand at the moment though.
Ooh, round the outside of the hairpin.
Good driving from the two, leaving each other plenty of space, which is great to see.
Good racing.
So as we thought with Piero, I think he's got his race set up rather than a qualifying setup, as Josh K is a bit squirrely out of the turn 10. The slow 90
Piero's
degree
using
handle.
a lot of overtake here. Oh, he's going down.
He's
inside.
trying to make those moves early. All of this though is letting Eccentric get away.
Yeah. Josh at the moment, at this point in the race, has much grippier tyres than Piero. So I'd imagine it would be smarter for Piero to just stick behind, wait for Josh's tyres to degrade a bit, and then he can make a much easier overtake without losing too much time.
This is true. However, the quicker you can get out of the dirty air and into fresh air, because
If
we
he's got
know
more pace,
he's going to be quicker. So yes. So he's making the move right now.
He also is using a lot of ERS. to get this done.
Ooh, very tight squeeze, but he does make it. He does get it.
Well
Piero
done,
man
Piero.
into second. Peanuts, onto you. What do you see at the moment?
Josh's a bit squirmy down out of turn 2, is it?
Maybe signs of tile degrading already.
Could be, could be. The softs at full fuel load is not fun to drive.
Whoa,
Josh!
Josh,
Is it
he's into the wall and retired from
And
the
he's
session.
retired.
first retirement?
And I think I
unfortunate.
know where he's done that. He's done that off that weird bump on the outside of the track.
We have a virtual safety car.
So, if Eccentric is able to get to the end of this and make a pit, he's going to get a free pit stop.
Would he go for
Drive-through.
hards to the end of the...
You would,
But,
but
track
I suppose the hards are... They're not a great race tire. They will get
Yeah,
you
I
to the
didn't-
end, but you don't have a lot of grip. And sorry to cut you off,
Yeah.
Peanuts. I see 2 people with penalties at the moment.
One of them's a drive-through, I think. One of them's just a 3-second.
A
For track
drive-through.
limits.
This will be interesting. Oh. And we are back to normal racing. So, and it looks like Eccentric's built out even more of a margin on Piero.
6 seconds, eh?
6.6 seconds, yeah. There seems to be another yellow flag. And that is Shrifty going around. Shrifty has also retired from the session. I think he's had enough. Josh has also left the session. Obviously had enough. Didn't want to watch the rest of the race. It must be really disheartening to retire on lap 3.
Yeah.
So on board with Eccentric, trying to build
And he
his
would have been
advantage.
fighting for a podium as well, so that's very unfortunate.
In his first race, yeah, it must be very tough.
Piero loses.
Piero loses. Piero has retired.
Oh,
Has
The
Piero
same
done?
corner too.
Has
Yeah,
Piero
Piero
done a
just
Josh? Shrifty has
Wow.
left the session. So Piero has done a Josh. We've had 2 retirements, 1 lap apart in the same corner.
no safety car for Piero there.
I think
No DSC.
I think they realised that it wasn't too bad to clear that car
Yeah.
away. So really, we are relying on J Miles to show us what he can do on those mediums to try and put some pressure on Eccentric at some
He does
point
have
in
a
the lane.
penalty though.
I think he's only got a 3-second penalty, so
Yeah.
he might be able to clear that in the pits if the game allows him to. Otherwise, he'll
Yeah.
have 3 seconds towards the end of the race as Eccentric
He
is just
really needs to
pulling
get
away.
into Grand's DRS zone so he can use the soft tires speed.
At the moment, he's only 1.3 seconds away, so those tyres, I don't think the Grand will be feeling very good. So
No, yeah.
it's roughly about here you really begin to feel the tyres of the soft tyres just falling apart.
Yeah.
And I remember when in the practice session, I got to I think lap 10 on a high fuel load, and the car just wouldn't turn in at all. It just said no. So he's halfway through to that stage. So did you guys also catch the recommended pit tire stop strategy? Actually, 'cause
Yes, I think so.
I think, what was that saying?
Can't fully remember.
Soft
Soft mediums, and what was the other one? The alternative?
medium, softs, mediums.
Ah, so very aggressive. So
Looks like J Miles is falling back a bit from Grand. He's now 1.5 seconds behind.
holding his own at the moment. At this point, J Miles should be closing into Grand, but Grand must be doing a
Yeah.
very good job on those softs,
Grand also has a lot more ERS than J Miles does.
reserving that even better. I think Zefty's going to need. I don't think he served that drive-through penalty. He's going to need to do that soon, otherwise he's going to get himself a
He'll get
disqualification. Yeah. As we're on board with Hokkien. On board with Quackle. Quackle seems to be making up a bit of ground, closing in to your AI. 2.4 seconds. I think there's there's a chance of a podium here for Guac because he's not too far behind J Miles. So he's 2.2 seconds behind your AI, who's a further 3 seconds behind Basic Kiwi. And Basic Kiwi, if J in his first race for the OCE Racing League, only 4.7 seconds off J Miles. So again, his softs must be falling apart. But doing very well in his first race, as for a lot of these guys, it's their first races in the OCE Racing League. As I said before, this is the new Tier 2, so not just a Tier 1 anymore, we now have a Tier 2. So 10 races of Tier 1, 10 races of Tier 2, both on a Sunday, with Tier 2s racing from 4:30 until roughly 5:30, 6 o'clock, and then the main event of Tier 1 racing between 7 and 9 p.m. So tune in later, guys, but we'll come back to that when it's time. In the meantime, on board with Eccentric, as really in a world of his own, as the tyre strategy has opened for the hards to pit between laps 7 and 9. So really, he's got all the time in the world to decide when he wants to pit. If he can make the softs go even further, he's going to have beautiful tyres come the end of the race.
Indeed.
Same with
Do you reckon we're going to be seeing any 2-stops today?
It's a possibility, but I feel like nobody's going to go for that unless there's a safety car.
True.
So, as Guackle is getting closer and closer to the back of the Choda 1 AI. J Miles.
Watching
yourself.
Sorry.
You're watching yourself? No, that's all good. Watching
myself get overtaken. Surreal.
It's holding its own.
I'm rooting for myself, man.
As it looks like Hokkien has made the first pit stop actually with fresh new softs, so he's going for the aggressive strategy. There we go. There's the 2-stop strategy, and Hokkien's the one that's going to do it.
Let's see if it'll work out for him.
Well, he's got 50 seconds to Guackle, so
Yeah.
he's got a lot of ground to make up. But as Michael
Pull
Schumacher,
something out of the bag.
as Michael Schumacher says, never give up, because in that Brazilian Grand Prix, his last race, where he was virtually about to be lapped by his teammate Felipe Massa in that race.
Yeah.
And then all of us, by the end of the race, he finished 4th and just. So I think it was 4th or might have been 5th, but I remember watching that race and it like it was yesterday, and it was absolutely brilliant to see. But he did it. He came from almost a lap down to finishing in the top 5. So if Hokkien can do that, he's going to absolutely love his race debut.
It's not over till the fat lady sings.
Pretty much.
Oh, Eccentric just had a big moment coming out of Sector 1.
Probably feeling
Nearly just replicated the Piero man and the Josh crash.
Probably feeling those tires right now is a big lock-up too.
Yeah.
Looking at
It's
this
a lot of
tire
understeer, I can see.
with 7 laps into it.
Yeah, he's leading the race by 12.8 seconds from Grant. At this point, I know it's a racer's instinct to just want to push all the time, but at this point you must sort of think a little bit and say, hey, I've got 13 seconds to the guy in front. I don't need to be pushing 100 miles an hour at all times. I can take my foot off a little bit.
Yeah,
if I can get these tires a little bit further, it'll help me even more towards the end of the race. But I think he might in a bit of even more of a twitch. And he's going for another lap.
Not going in?
Not yet. But again, he's still gaining. He's still what's it called? Pulling away from Grand. When it had a bit of a mental blank. As Grand goes in.
Yeah.
Grand's into the pits. Or his probably one stop. Let's see what tyres he does
Going
put
on the hards, yeah.
On the hard. So no, this strategy is going to be a one stop. So we know that. It's now up
Basic
to...
Kiwi's coming in as well. Oh, he's going on to the mediums.
Who is this?
Interesting.
Basic Kiwi. Ah. So he's going to be doing the aggressive 2-stop strategy. Unless he can get 20 laps out of those mediums, but I highly doubt that, because they're not a
risk of a puncture.
Yeah, they're not a very good... I mean, they do the job in lasting long distance, but I mean, he could try a Sebastian Vettel in, what was it,
Yeah.
2018, I think it was?
Oh, it looks
Could
like
be.
Guackle's right behind my AI now.
Is he now? There we go. He's smelling a third place at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, the medium can be smoothened out
Yeah.
better.
Pardon?
The mediums. Yesterday I did a race. I bid it for medium on lap 7.
Yep.
And it exploded on the last lap.
Oh, wow.
So if you could go a bit long with the softs, you could possibly do a one stop.
So if you've done that from lap 7, so he would have 2 laps extra from you. So it might be possible then, if that's the case.
Oh, Eccentric's
It
pitting now.
might be, but you would get a lot of missing.
There you go. Real,
Looks like the hard tires for Eccentric.
and he's playing it safe, but I think he knows
Yeah.
he doesn't have to push anymore. He just needs to be comfortable, not make a mistake, and he has the race win in the bag by a mile. So
Pretty much. Well, it looks like Guackle's going to make the overtake here.
3/10 away, it looks like. So you're right on board with him. Can he get close enough into turn 1? He's going for it, and he has a very late break.
Massive
Nice
dive.
move. And I think he's trying to switch back, and he has tried the switch back.
He's going to get DRS again, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah. Should be done and dusted here.
He's on board with Jordan, your AI, as your AI is trying to switch back. But Guackle has his more than covered. He saw that one coming. And now Guackle can try and reduce the gap between him, J Miles, and Grand. So Guackle's playing himself into this, so we will see how well he goes. Whether he's tied for tier 1 later, we will see. But it's good practice, nonetheless.
Guackle's the only one left on the soft tires at the moment. So we'll see
What he's able to
who
do.
hits this lap.
Let's see what Guackle's lap time is looking like.
Oh, this puncture!
A
For
puncture?
For who? Oh, Guackle just got a front left puncture.
There you go. There
Well
goes his
spotted,
tires.
Peanuts.
Oh!
Oh, spin.
Close.
Lucky he didn't lose his wing there.
I think that might have been the commentator's curse.
Yeah.
Literally, as we were talking about his tire life, there it goes with a puncher.
That is not good for Guackle's race strategy. He's lost a lot of time with that spin.
Having to let people by. It's a sinking feeling when you've got a puncher.
Yeah.
It's one of the worst feelings you could have. Particularly when you're in such a great position. It's very demotivating.
Yeah.
Let's put Guackle out of his misery and swap to someone else, as Eccentric is closing up on J Miles, who's on 10 lap mediums compared to fresh hards. So I don't think there's going to be much of a challenge here.
Could I get an invite? I'm gonna try and retire my out of my AI at this point.
Let's
Sure.
Peanuts, are you able to put him back into the session? The moment that closest battle.
Thank you.
Gonna get it on the pit street.
For sure, I think he's just waiting for his opportunity because a bit of a lock-up,
Gets a lot of battery.
but he's very close. Very, very close, and there he goes.
Things get by like that.
And he's into distance. I think there's nothing J Miles can really do or say. He's now a pit stop behind Eccentric, so I think Eccentric, as your prediction, is looking like Choden. It's as Eccentric for the win at the moment. It's now a question of who's going to get second, really, because every time someone's been in that second position, something's happened to, and we have another yellow flag. And
That's me retiring.
oh, there we go. This will be interesting whether you get a safety car or not. This might change the entire race altogether, but
Pulled off pretty safe, hopefully. No
Okay, so
safety car.
it looks like right in the spot where Grosjean crashed his car in
Yeah.
the Bahrain Grand Prix for the F1.
That was a massive crash.
It was.
Did you see it live?
Yeah, it was a scary crash. Yeah, there's really not much to say about that crash. It was
No.
just nothing other than scary.
Glad that he's okay though.
Bit sad he couldn't come back in Abu
Yeah.
Dhabi, but at the end of the
Finish
day,
his season.
yeah, finishing, yeah, because that might have been his last race, unfortunately, but he will move on to other things, and he's got his family and his health, which is the most important thing. So
Exactly.
as Eccentric posts the fastest lap of the race, so he's in a completely different planet at the moment. Really loving the Bahrain Grand Prix. He was complaining of actually before because normally he doesn't race with ABS off. So
Oh yeah.
for our league, if viewers, if you don't know, for our league we race with basically all assists off. I think the only ones we allow are the racing line and the gearbox. So with some people race just automatic gearbox, but everything else is off. So we're a very professional racing league, and we like to push and support, but also develop our drivers. So
Yeah. It's very hard to get used to racing with ABS off if you haven't done it before.
even a lot of people, even Peanuts, you had to go with traction control because you had to learn with that off, didn't you? When you
Ah, yes, the first race.
entered,
Have to turn medium traction.
and yeah, from learning to no traction control and your assists off to being one of the quickest drivers in Tier 1. So
It is a mountain to climb, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look, it takes a few races, but mind you, I think your first race you came in, you put it on pole
Yeah, Apple was out of nowhere.
in
That was
Baku.
interesting.
With our field, back to the actual race, it's very spread out at the moment, and not a lot of battles happening at this point in time. You've got J Miles 5.2 behind Eccentric. You've got Grand 16 seconds to J Miles, so that will be an interesting battle come the end of the race, I feel, because if J Miles is able to, as we have a flag in sector 2, I think it might be Hokian. It is. That's a bit of a shame because he was actually closing down on Guackle. So, and Zefty's about to pass him, and he has. And he's got a broken front wing too, and that's going to force a pit stop. So I think his second stop is about to be an unscheduled one, and he's going to have to deal with finishing probably 7th, but anything can happen because again we've had 2 retirees in the same spot.
Yeah.
Both were running in second. Swifties had enough. Your AI, well, was never supposed to be part of the race, but
Yeah.
it participated.
Snuck in.
So long as Hokian finishes the race, he'll get himself some valuable points. So, but at the moment, everyone's very well spread out. So. Not a lot of action as J Miles.
Oh, J Miles hitting.
He is. It's now be interesting as to what tyre he puts on.
Yeah.
As we see right in front of him, as Hokian is in the pits. So I'm assuming Hokian will go. There he goes on the hard. So that's interesting to me. I reckon he could have put on the mediums and would have gone comfortably all the way to the end.
Oh, he couldn't have put on the mediums again though, because that was his first pit stop.
Oh, okay, so that would explain it then. No, was it? Are you sure? I'm pretty sure it was the softs.
Yeah, it was his first pit stop.
Okay, well, fair enough. As J Miles is on the hards, so he's going to have some very fresh tyres, and it's going to be interesting now between him and Grant. He does have a bit of a gap to close down to Grant. 9.2 seconds, 9.3 now. So those tyres are probably going to take a lap to get up to temperature, and then we will see what he's able to do. As he got basic Kiwi 8.6 seconds behind. So basic Kiwi looking very good for a solid 12 points.
He is on the mediums though. He might have to pit again.
Well, he's already
Maybe
done
not.
5 laps, so 10 maybe, but he's got a big enough. He's got 10 seconds to Guackle, so basically Kiwi, if he does make a stop, I'm assuming the way to go would be to put on a fresh pair of softs and then bolt
Yeah.
it to the end. Now, if he does put on a fresh pair of softs, that gap between him and Guackle is going to come down very, very quickly.
Guackle is on softs as well, though, so Guackle is going to have to pit again, definitely.
So the pendulum swings back to basic Kiwi.
Yeah.
So, but it would put him. But then again, Otis Zefty also has to make a stop. So Hokkien, what is he? 35.3 seconds behind Zefty. So what is the gap to leader at the moment? To leader. So there we go. We've got 1 lap down, 1 lap down. Guackle not too far off being lapped. Basic Kiwi. So so he's not. I think it might have swung maybe in Hopkins' way, but I think he's too far away to be anywhere near that Guackle basic Kiwi Zefty battle.
Yeah.
So Zefty only 36, so 36 seconds behind Guackle, but again we'll have to make a pit stop. So but then again, if Hockien's able to close as Zefty picks himself up, a 3-second time penalty. So maybe Hokkien maybe actually pick up a 6th place if he's able to close the gap down to Zefty. But right now he's just locking up every corner he's going into.
Yeah, that's not good for tyre wear.
So on board with Grand. And this is interesting actually, so this is looking quite nicely. So Jay Miles in the last 2 laps has gained a 2nd on Grand. Well, at this rate, I think he might just miss out on Grand. So 1 second every 2 laps, you've got 12 laps to go.
Yeah.
He might just miss out on Grand by maybe 4 seconds. So
J-Mouse does have a 3-second time penalty as well.
and that wouldn't help his cause.
No. And he's only at about 20% ERS.
Well, I suppose Jay Miles is going to have to push so hard he probably won't be able to see. So, Peanuts, on to you. A bit quiet there.
Yeah, I'm just checking on everyone's lap times, and it seemed that I was looking at Zeffy because he is pretty much very new, and I think he's driving a solid race, not doing any mistakes so far.
You've been coaching Zefty, haven't you? Between you and Joe.
Yeah, it is pretty ironic because thing is, he's new to the wheel. He's just turned off ABS,
Yeah.
but all along he's been using traction control and with no force feedback. So now that we've been teaching him to turn it on and all, as he pits right now, very slow entry.
Is Zefty in the pits?
Wow, he was playing with no force feedback.
Yeah,
That's
That would be
he said it
difficult.
Yeah.
he said it was very strong for him, but
Alright.
we helped it out with that, and so far it's been pretty solid. Although not so fast by eccentrics standards. He's
Yeah.
been driving a very good.
I think,
He'll
yeah,
get there. He'll
Pretty
get
solid.
there.
Eccentric's in a league of his own, but for viewers that don't know who Joe was, who I referred to before, Joe is in our Tier 1, so the OCE Racing League 1 division. Yeah, so you will see him later in roughly just over an hour and a half. So, for those that you don't know who Joe was. And you'll also see me in the race too, Jules. So, and what do we got? We got Hokkien with a bit of a spinner. So, whatever chance if he had a slim chance, it's even further downward now. But what can we say about Eccentric? Because we haven't really bar praising him for what he's been doing, he's driving a very solid race. He's got the pole position. He's got the fastest lap. Right now, he's going to take pretty much the
Yellow flag.
yellow flag. that. He's going to take the, what's the word I'm looking for? The trifecta, the pole position, fastest lap, and the race win at this point in time. Bar any Piero Josh incidents.
Seemed like Grant made a mistake, and J Mouse is catching up right now.
Eccentric actually doesn't have the fastest lap at the moment. It belongs to Guackle.
Interesting. So Guackle's going to walk away with the fastest lap at this point. But we will see come the last couple of laps. The fuel load will deplete. So,
Eccentric also has enough of a gap to pit for softs right at the end instead of fastest lap.
well then, I suppose it's going to be up to him what he would like to do. Whether he wants to win with the fastest lap or whether he wants to win based on how far he beats the field.
Yeah. I mean, the fastest lap is 1 extra point.
It's true.
So...
It's very true.
It's gonna be interesting with the Grant and J Mouse because
Oh, he's very
J
close
Mouse
now.
has very much fresh tires and he has a penalty. So if he can catch up to Grant, this will spice things up for the 2 steps on the podium.
J Miles has closed up a lot of time, like 9 seconds, and he saved about 30% extra ERS while doing that. So he's done very well to get this close.
And even just closing out, he's closed up 7/10 this lap.
Russell pit it.
He's 1.5 seconds. Has Grant got some sort of an damage? I would like to know.
Someone check his front wing.
Grant is missing half of his right side. He's missing the
Oh,
end
what
plate.
happened there?
That would
And
explain
that's why.
a lot.
I wonder when that happened.
That's
think-
where there was the yellow flag at the top of the hill in sector 3.
Which would have been the lap before, so lap 19. As with Grand Prix, no, I think he wants to continue. He still might be able to walk away with a podium if he's able to play his cards right.
He might be able to stick on the back of Miles's DRS.
Maybe if Miles gets him in the DRS zone. If not, I don't think he's able to stick with Miles. One, Miles has got 6 lap fresher tires, and
True.
2, while Bahrain has a lot of top speed, you need to have good top speed. You need that downforce for that middle sector.
Yeah, it's a lot of high speed.
And he's missing half. I wouldn't say missing half his downforce, but he's missing a great chunk of his downforce. And
Yeah.
you can see J Miles after every braking zone is just reeling him in. It's like a fish on a hook, basically on the
Yeah.
fishing line, and it's just getting closer and closer.
It's a matter of, oh, he goes wide
Oh,
there.
Grand runs wide. This could be the opportunity for J Miles here.
And there we go.
And he gets him.
And no hope for Grand as J Miles. I expect in the next 3 or 4 corners just to be within maybe a second and a half away. So
Pulling away, yeah.
I don't see Grant getting back at J Miles.
It's a matter of damage limitation now.
It really is. I suppose again a podium, 3rd place in his first race. Or is J Miles slowing
wow,
down?
Look at the overspeed. No, I think J Miles is running very high downforce setup. Because I was noticing earlier that Grant is just pulling away in the straights by a very large amount. So I think J Miles is running a lot of downforce for a Bahrain setup. Which is allowing Grant to
I
overtake him.
did not see this coming.
Who would have thought this could be interesting?
So maybe Grant might be able to defend his 2nd place. It gets him again into turn 4. But I think it might
This is where he struggles. Yep.
Yeah, the understeer is just horrible.
might be done and dusted at this point. Let's go on board with Grant and let's
Let's
see.
The detection point is coming up just before this left-hander.
So he will get it as
Oh,
I think
Zesty.
safety is a bit of a spin. Back on board with Grant, as you can see, he's struggling to turn in those corners, but he is. I think he's found his solution very quickly, which I really like that actually, because
Yeah.
he knows he's missing a chunk of his downforce, and he's driving the car in a way where it's minimizing the damage that he's got. So, and that's the thing, when you're missing a chunk of downforce, you need to brake earlier into corners, you need to...
It's also easy to lock up when you're missing some front wing.
This is true, so by moving the brake bias a bit more rearward, able to stop those front lockups,
Yeah.
turning earlier into corners, also you can also minimize it by
I'm gonna get him
just
again.
by instead of sometimes into corners you're able to pick up the throttle earlier, but I think in Grand's position, I think he needs to be able to let the car roll very well into the corner, and it looks like he's doing that extremely well. As James Hollis doesn't seem to have an answer for him. He gets him, and then Grand just gets him
taken
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's doing very, very well at the moment. So this is the closest battle at the moment on track. As we'll give a bit of an order to the guys, the viewers that are watching, just so you can catch up. So lap 1, we had eccentric, bit of a challenge with Josh KH223 into turn 1, but eccentric just managed to get Josh back into turn 3, and then Josh really had no answer into turn 4 because he just was too far away. From there we had Piero, the first retiree, spinning on the exit of at the end of sector 1. I think it would be turn 7. And then 1 lap later, Josh KKH223, again in second place, made the same mistake Piero man, and went straight into the wall and retired. From there, Shrifty, I think, gave up after a spin and retired himself. And then Choden, well, he's commentating with me, so he's AI. He's me and Peanuts, so he's AI, or Peanuts and I should say, to be correct, politically correct. So he's
Grammatically
correct. Yes, my bad. Grammatically correct. He's AI,
Wow.
and J Miles going in for it. Not yet. So he's biding his time, but
Grand has about 80% ERS, so he's really saving this up, being very smart, not using too much. I reckon this will be a fight down to the last lap for the second place.
for sure. I still think it plays a little bit into J Miles' hands.
Yeah.
But J Miles is running out of laps with that 3-second time penalty, so
He could be choosing to fall. Oh, yeah, no, true. He needs to make this overtake and break away.
I think as basic Kiwi gets himself a penalty.
What was that for?
I think track limits, I believe.
I think he might have crossed the white line on pit exit.
It's,
He was just exiting the pits. So.
it's possible. It didn't appear on the screen, so we can check this later in the race director. So, but at the moment, yes, J Miles, he is running out of it. I feel as though J Miles is going for the attack right now. I think he needs to be a little bit smarter and realize that the DRS zone is the
you
next
don't
corner.
want to overtake there.
Because look how close Grand is, and he's turning in very well. So J Miles is. I think.
Yeah, no.
Oh, he has a lot of DRS.
Now he's just using all of his DRS,
Bit of
but I mean, he just gave Grand the DRS, so.
A bit of a sitting duck at the moment. If he can stick it around the outside, and he has. Trying to cross over, no, didn't quite get it. And look, at the moment, it looks like J Miles just doesn't have an answer.
In order for him to break away, he needs to have more ERS than Grand does, so he can really just blast away and get out of that 1 second DRS zone. But he has less than Grand does, so it's like whatever J Miles does, Grand can respond and do more. So I guess Grand's got it covered.
I feel as though, in terms of tire strategy, J Miles will have those 6-lap fresher tires. So I feel he goes very deep actually, as J Miles is now in the DRS zone, gets a bit squirrely out of the traction zone, pulls in behind Grand, trying to pick up as much tow as he can, goes for a bit of a fake, but knows he's not going to get it, so pulls back into behind Grand. I think if J Miles is able to get ahead of Grand and stay ahead, for sure by the end of the lap he'll be maybe 1.5, 2 seconds away. But the problem is he's not able to pull away because every time he gets close to him, there's a DRS zone in the next section, and that's where Grand is just waiting. And here we go, as J Miles is trying to pull away, and I think Grand is trying to defend with his ERS, but it looks like J Miles might have this done. He should have this done because there's one more DRS zone. So long as he's able to keep in front of Grand into this DRS zone, J Miles is away. It's really
Playing
great.
more like the DRS chicken, don't they?
A little bit, aren't they? And it looks like J Miles might have it done, but again, we will see come this DRS zone, because I think twice J Miles has passed into there, and the next DRS zone, Grand has come back at him. Eccentric
He
pits.
might be going for the fastest lap.
So he's trying to go for the trifecta, as we have another yellow flag, and I believe.
Oh, I
that's
think
the-
Grand dropped out of the DRS. I don't think he's going to get it. He was over a second behind when he went through the detection zone. Yeah, he doesn't have it. He
1
lost
second.
it.
So
Oh, but he's using a lot of overtake here.
he's trying to stick as close as he possibly can.
Yeah, he's 5/10 away.
But this is his opportunity, because other than these next 3 turns, the rest are all long straights.
Yeah. But J Miles does have a very high downforce setup, so I think Grand's got an advantage on the straight.
Here's something interesting. Guaco has caught up to Basic Kiwi, and Basic Kiwi does have the penalty.
This is very interesting.
Oh, true.
2.8 seconds. Wacko is getting closer by the second. So now we have two battles going on right now. Let's take. Well, at the moment, Grand is coming in 4/10, 3/10. You might get him by the end of this straight. 2/10, 1/10. I think he thinks better of it. So
Oh, yellow flag. It's for Hokkien.
Hokkien,
Hokkien drops to 7.
I feel like Hokkien is really not enjoying these hard tires.
No.
To be fair though, the hards are really difficult tires to drive with.
As we go on board with Basic Kiwi and now Guaco, who's 2.5 seconds behind, 2.6 seconds behind. Trying to close into Basic Kiwi. So he's getting closer, but again, I feel like Guaco's got more downforce than Basic Kiwi, because he's losing time down those straights. So
You need the downforce to overtake. You need less downforce to overtake, sorry.
As long as he keep in
Back
the
on board,
2-second range.
these guys are still going at it.
Yeah, J Miles got very squirrely coming out of the corner, and Grand just got alongside.
Or just a little nudge.
Bumping.
Give each other the racing room. And J Miles needs to understand that there is no wing on Grand's side, on his right hand side. They're sticking
Ooh.
at it.
Jesus, side by side for so long.
Grand does
Gotta hand it to Grand here.
advantage.
Round the
Oh.
outside, wow.
He's doing a terrific job. 4/10. It's now who gets the DRS, and I think J Miles gets the DRS at the moment.
No one does get DRS.
No one
Oh,
is.
they were alongside at the detection point.
That is interesting. I have never once seen that happen.
It's very hard to get it done.
But it looks like J Miles will get the DRS here, I believe. As he
I think
does
J
not.
Miles is out of laps. I don't think he's can pull away 3 seconds.
He does have the DRS here, J Miles. Sorry, viewers, that was my bad, but yes, he did have the DRS.
Does J Miles have enough time to overtake and pull 3 seconds? I don't think so.
At this point in time, it's looking advantage Grand.
Yeah.
At this point in
Unless
time.
Grand gets a 3 second penalty.
That's the only, as Eccentric goes and bolts in
Smashes
a
the previous fastest
27.9.
lap.
27.9, so he's got his trifecta, he's got his pole position, soon to be race win and fastest lap, and I don't think anyone else is catching that time. And I don't know if J Miles has has an answer at the moment. It looks to me he's falling away a little bit.
Yeah. There's just some corners where he's not very consistent, and that really doesn't help him. Where he just loses some time, gets on the throttle a bit too greedy.
Such an easy thing to do.
Yeah. Consistency is incredibly important in league racing.
It is.
Looks like J Miles is lacking some of that. Maybe he needs to focus on that.
Again, this is J Miles' first league race as well.
Yeah.
Mostly, other than Wackle, Shrifty, and Pierreman, everybody else, this is their first official debut, actually.
Yeah.
Bar the mini events we ran as Grand. It looked like he pulled over for J Miles.
I think he might have had a bit of an oversteer moment.
Yeah, he got a bad exit there.
Yeah. But speaking as an ex-driver, your first league race can be very you get very nervous and palms sweaty. So it is, you don't race at your full potential because the pressure can
get you.
affect you a bit.
I suppose this is. I mean, I don't know. Like I think just for racing in general, I kind of get nervous before every race, and I think like it's sort of like that excited nervous. That
Yeah,
not
yeah,
nervous,
yeah.
nervous, but like you're excited.
It's nervous because you care about what's going to happen.
It's true.
It's like,
What about you, Peanuts?
I'd say, yeah, the nervousness really kicks in. Just feel a bit cold, a bit more shaky.
yeah.
It's pretty. Yeah, it's something that you experience only when you face it. Even heading to this race soon, I'm getting this vibes.
J Miles.
First race of the season.
Sorry to cut you off, guys, but J Miles very slow out of the last corner, and
Yeah.
bit of a
Oh,
bump
wow.
there. That was very aggressive.
Yeah.
I think J Miles is getting a bit frustrated here because it's the last lap, and I don't think he's gonna.
He's just making too many mistakes. He just keeps allowing Grand to come back and overtake him.
It's true. I think might be one for the stewards actually.
Even though Grand has wing damage, he's just nailing every corner.
Just able to be consistent.
Consistency is really key. And eccentric crosses the line to finish the top.
We have not
Almost a
gone.
minute ahead of second place.
We
Wow.
have not really seen much of Eccentric this second half of the race. He's just been in a world of his own. Well done to Eccentric. He's crossed that line. Can J Miles do anything between now and the last half of the race?
All Grand has to do is not get a track limits penalty and he's secured second.
It's true. He's right on board with J Miles. He's got the
Always going to go
drive.
around the outside here.
Whoop. There he goes. I think Grand knows he doesn't need to fight this too hard.
Yeah, no point risking it.
J Miles has a 3-second penalty, so long as he sits within 3 seconds, Grand has this. We hop on board to J Miles and watch the guys cross the line. I think J Miles will be a little bit disappointed that he wasn't able to break away, but at the end of the day, you've got your 1, 2, 3 for Eccentric, Grand, and J Miles. We now hop on board with Basic Kiwi.
He still has the 3-second gap over there. If you keep
Guackle,
it through
he
the last-
does, doesn't it? And a
Oh,
big locker from
locker.
Basic Kiwi. Big
Holy.
locker. But it's 2.1, yeah, Basic Kiwi. That
If he
last
didn't lock
corner.
up then, he might have actually been able to take
It's,
the position.
it's true, and I think Guackle did get him right at the end. So, Basic Kiwi, yeah, there we go. Basic Kiwi with 5th in his first race. I think he can be very happy with that. And driver of the day goes to J Miles, and I think J Miles can be very happy with that. He gets his podium. Grand gets his podium with an astonishing drive with half a wing for the last 15 laps. Probably last 10 laps, I think it was. And Eccentric can be absolutely ecstatic with the race victory, the pole position, and the fastest lap. So,
Well done.
well done to Eccentric. So, let's have a look once we get to the race director. Have a look at what the times were, and we'll go over. What were your thoughts, gentlemen, on the race?
Say Eccentric definitely had a very large pace advantage. He showed that he's going to be a contender for the Drivers' Championship this season.
For sure.
The battle between J Miles and Grant towards the end was pretty exciting. Some good strategy. And yeah, that's all I've got to say.
Yeah,
You
Peanuts.
can really say 2-stop can work.
Yeah.
It gives a message to the tier 1s like at one point the 2-stop might work for this race instead of the 1-stop.
It's true.
Because you see the pace advantage there, it's immense. You can really make up for that 1-stop.
Yeah, it gives us tier 1 drivers a bit of an insight into what we can try later on in 1 hour and 14 minutes. And yeah,
Yes.
so we will see what happens there. as we have a look on the race results, Eccentric with a 1:27.9, 59 seconds back is Grand, which J Miles will be a 1 minute 2 seconds behind. We go on to Guackle in P4 with 1 minute 25 behind Eccentric, the leader. Then we go on to Basic Kiwi, who just missed out on 4th place, but can be very happy with a 5th, with 1 minute 26 behind Eccentric. We then go to Zefty, and the session literally just finished up. So, gentlemen, I had a lot of fun commentating with you guys, and I hope you enjoyed today's race.
Yes.
Great getting to talk to you guys
enjoyed
again.
that.
Peanuts, I will talk to you later in the actual race session. So we will talk soon. Choden, you will be on.
Close to you, but we'll see.
Yeah, Choden, you'll be on with Biggles later. So everyone, viewers.
Is Biggles going to be the one streaming?
No. So the stream will be going
Okay, I
on
think I've got most of the settings set up
easy.
already.
Easy. We'll
Cool.
work it out later. But in the meantime, thank you, Peanuts. Thank you, Choden.
All good.
And thank you, viewers, everyone that watched. Stay tuned for another race session for the Tier 1, the OCE Racing League 1, in 1 hour and 12 minutes. Catch you guys.
Good luck in the Tier 1 Jules and Peanuts.
Thank you, Jordan.
See ya.
See you, Jordan. See you, Peanuts.